And that's mainly because of neglecting these kind of active development of workforce. We have actually a huge order backlog for things in Internet of Things or in security. There is a lot of demand, but we don't have the people. And we have other things. Let's take, for instance, cloud business, where we have a lot of people, but not the demand as Amazon, Microsoft, Google took all of these business, and therefore these people don't really help us. We have to reduce them, and it has ended in a big disaster. Now there is a layoff of 10,000 people within the CEO of these systems. You can imagine that layoff of 10,000 people. At the same time, we are actively recruiting as many as we can for security or Internet of Things and some other topics in the network area. So you have done a lot of trouble first with the Workers' Council in Germany, quite a strong thing. And also it is an extremely expensive exercise. So redundancy packages for 10,000 people on the one side and huge recruitment investment on the other side. So it's one of the most expensive exercise you can do. And with these kind of experiences in the recent years, now we really try to avoid that for the parent company for Deutsche Telekom. And that's why there is so much focus now on that, what we call Skills Up, strategic skill management project. And that's then why this learning topic really becomes a top priority of Deutsche Telekom, really to develop right skills at the right time, at the right place. So I start liking what I do. So in the beginning, it was more like, okay, fine, I clean up another mess and let's see what you give me afterwards. But it has become in the last 7 months, kind of a passion a bit, where I feel that's really an interesting job all of a sudden. So I became kind of an HR person, which is a bit odd, but I like it.
No, but it's a super interesting topic, because I have to say that for me as well, I've been thrown a bit. So we have inside our company a very big department for education. This is the biggest practice of the company. And for me, working on engineering topics, I was always like, for me, I more understand the schema about architecture of hybrid and electric vehicles and stuff. And the learning part is a topic that comes all the time across all the industry everywhere. And here you made a perfect example. I think that today, with the fast pace of the change of the industry, and on top of that, the IT industry changed so fast. Everything is getting interconnected with IoT and connectivity, that it's definitely a topic that needs to be addressed. So I think it's a very interesting project we're working on.
Yeah.
So which brings me a little bit more to actually the actual question of London Business School. So regarding that content creation, so you mentioned to me that you actually before you were mostly developing context in-house, and that right now you are engaging a little bit more with external providers.
I can share here. It's very simple. For what we call horizontal content, there are very, very, very few topics where we would develop our own content. Horizontal topics are pretty generic, obviously. I mentioned already examples such as global English or these kind of things. What we have here is we have the Skillsoft package in place. We have companies licensed for Skillsoft. We have from LearnLike, global English, global German. And then we have we are testing cooperations with Udacity and Coursera. And apart from that, here and there, also some bits and pieces here that was about digital training. And then we have in the countries we have providers for physical training for, let's say, project management or whatever, where we feel we want to have on top of digital content also some face-to-face training. So that's the mixture for the horizontal piece. A very, very small share of self-created content. There are sometimes products, very few products, which are really sold across the entire company, very few. And that would be a very specific thing where we would consider, okay, we create our own content. But apart from that, I don't see any reason why I would do so for that piece. For the vertical thing, which is then country, segment, division specific, it's different. There is frequently also some share which is coming from external providers, third party, either physical or digital, but there is also a good share of individual content, because they have specific processes implemented, because they have specific products, which have to be sold in the sales and marketing piece or whatever is the reason. They do that usually in a collaboration. Let's take for the technical field service. They get the installation manuals and sometimes even some digital content. They compile them very quickly, either physical or digital trainings, maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year, as frequently as physical devices then change with new generations, and do that then for the technical field service. Usually this is short briefing session, could be by call, could be in any way. So the more it becomes local or let's say business and segment specific, then it's probably the share of the self-generated or half self-generated content will grow. The more it's general content, the lower the share is of self-created content.
All right, well, it makes a lot of sense. And to come back maybe then to the horizontal, what would be the criteria that you use for the selection of those providers? If they are external, of course.
Yeah, my first, I mean, for the Skillsoft, I was not involved. That was before my time. What we are now doing, I can say very simply, we try it out. So it is not that difficult for digital content to make that available for people in the company, to do pilots, to see if users like it. And for me, the main criteria here is do they like it? Do they use it? Basically. And if they use it, then why not providing it, right? I mean, that's the key thing. And if it's not being used, then we put it out. My view here is it is sometimes very helpful to have even 3 or 4 formats to provide the same content. You know, there are different kind of learners. Like me, my way of learning is I buy me a book, read it, and then I go to the final test, and that's it. And I hate physical training, and actually I also hate all kind of digital training. I want to have a book, and that's it. But there are other people who like digital content in multimedia or whatever. There are other people who like face-to-face. There are people who want to do training only in block mode, and others who like to do it half an hour a day in small nuggets. And if you want to be successful in developing a lot of people, you better offer more than one way of learning it to tackle all these different kind of, let's say, conditions or learners types or circumstances. Some have certain private constraints who allow certain things or disable certain things. So really, you better provide several ways. And I learned that, for instance, with Udacity. There are totally fans of Udacity who really love it. And there are others who say, no way, no way. So what do you do with that? Do you abandon it? I mean, yeah, we don't have so many people who tried that out and who are happy with Udacity, but those are really happy about it. And, you know, that's why we are quite flexible in offering different suppliers, different ways. And okay, if there is basically almost no demand anymore, we stop it, the collaboration, or we do a kind of a pay-per-use model where we see what's happening, and that's it.
All right. And have you ever worked with adaptive learning? So those kind of software where the employee can himself kind of personalize the software to make it like, as you said, if he prefer nuggets by nuggets,